I think it's vital that the public purse funds these sorts of institutions, museums, collection institutions, because these collections represent, as I mentioned previously, a snapshot in space and time of where things occur or have occurred at that particular place and time. As the world is increasingly suffering from the effects of climate issues, climate change, we're finding species are possibly going extinct. Species are certainly shifting in their ranges. As the waters warm, there's a southward migration of species. We're seeing that quite often, certainly through Australasian Fishes project. Other quite devastating changes have occurred. For example, this is nothing to do with fish, but the giant sea kelp off the east coast of Tasmania is virtually gone now. And that's because of the warm water currents that come down the East Australian current, sweeping the east coast of Tasmania. There used to be a very important diving industry, diving in the giant kelp, gone. So the west coast of Tasmania, where that warm water flowing down the east coast of Australia doesn't sweep up the west coast, I believe there's still giant kelp over there, but the east coast, gone. So it's really important that we have these collections and we document these changes. The museum has a research station, as we know, on Lizard Island, has had for many years, and with the coral bleaching that's occurring up there, there's all kinds of changes that are occurring, and in fact these changes are occurring faster in some cases than we can really document. And I think having museum collections is vital to looking at that sort of thing. There's all kinds of other things that museum collections are good for too. We know, for example, 2004 there was a new species of scorpion fish found right here in Sydney Harbour. And people have dived the harbour for years, and it wasn't until a Japanese ichthyologist came, an expert on scorpion fishes, and he looked at these collections that we'd made. Like the museum had made these collections, but we didn't recognise this new species of fish, and it's still only known from Sydney Harbour. So there's still a great deal to learn. As we know, with biology, it's a web of life. And one species supports another species, preys on another species, interacts with another species, relies on the blooming of flowers to supply food and what have you. Ecology is a complex beast, and without being able to know what we have, how can we know about the ecology? And documenting the species that we actually have on our Earth, certainly in the Australian Museum's case, in Australia and the Indo-Pacific in particular, it's really, really important. Otherwise, without knowing something, without knowing how it works, without knowing the basic information, how do we know how it works? How do we know what we're preserving and what's happening, what's changing? And so the museum, of course, is a vital place where we store this information, not only as specimens, but also data that goes with the specimens. One of the other things about the museum collection is that it has a great depth of time chronologically. The oldest specimen in the collection is from the mid-1800s. And of course we're still collecting now. So we have these specimens we can go back to. We can look at where things occurred in rivers in Australia where they no longer occur. And we can say, okay, in 1960 this species did occur in this river. It no longer occurs there. Can we look at introductions now? That sort of thing is not my area at all. And yet we can provide the basic information about that. Some of the freshwater perches, Persichthyids, may have occurred in particular river systems where they're no longer found now. The museum can document that looking at our collections. Each of the major cities around Australia, the capital certainly, and a couple of other smaller centres, have museum ichthyology collections, and we all work together as a team. AusFishNet is the group that we termed, and we all work together very, very well, share information, and if something's found at a particular location, we'll encourage the other museums to be involved and what have you. There's been group field work. So yeah, it's worked well. It's a good team effort.